So, by this point, you've done a lot of TV shows, you've done radio, you've done phone-ins, you've met people in person and done readings. So, how do these readings work? What's the process? Because obviously you've got spirit guide Sam, who's
never without him. Thank God, thank God. Right the way through, not just on the television. He's been with me for a long time.
So we see like the conduit.
Yes.
You get the messages through, so they will tell him, and he passes it on to you.
No. It works in two ways. Sam is always in attendance on that stage, close by. Doesn't interfere whatsoever until he has to, in a kindred way, interfere. That means if a communicating spirit person is finding it difficult to get the voice through, he will listen to the spirit person and then get it over to me. So sometimes I'll see them but can't hear them. Sometimes I will hear them but can't see them. That's when Sam's valuable work comes in. Now, best part of the time, those spirit people, when I can see them and I can hear them myself, I am conversing with them solely, and I will get the information from them. So basically I've got two ways. I've got a backup situation with Sam, bless him, and also my own direct. And because I see spirit people objectively, not in the mind's eye, not with the dead, in front of me when they show themselves, and I hear them very clearly, a lot of them, some of them not so clear. But if I spend enough time conversing with them, if you were watching the show, you'd see tonight live the way it works. It's not like investigative shows. You will see me conversing with Sam, you'll see me conversing with a spirit person who's there who can communicate with me. I'm looking at them, I'm not looking at the audience. And once I get sufficient, then I will turn to the audience and I'll say. But what I have done, mediumship got accused, a few years, mediumship's been accused of so many things, wrong things. However, the latest accusations were that mediums were not, especially by these people who say mediums do cold readings, you know, these psychologists.
Darren Brown's done that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if the public realised and knew, the public are not stupid, the public are intelligent, the way he explains cold readings and this, that, and that, people like him who have been in magicianal type things, and people of their nature do cold things, so they try to pin that on mediumship, which they never can. However, going back to, I'm losing track of what I wanted to say there, because it's talking about Darren Brown. Accusations about mediums not communicating. They wouldn't know because they don't know. They can't communicate themselves. So they say to the public in papers or what have you, mediumship is rubbish and this, that and the other. Now, if mediumship was rubbish, and I'm talking proper mediumship conducted, where does the information come from? Where does the information come from? It can only come from one place. It's not coming from the mind of the person you're doing the reading from, because the vast majority of information that is given is not in that person's mind at that time, if you speak to them afterwards. Intimate information about the person. Something like, you being the doctors here on Tuesday about your stomach, I believe. Where does that information come from? If the person says, yes, I have. I've got a woman here, tells me this is just an example, a woman or a man, tells me they had this health condition, whether it be a cancer, also pinpointing the cancer, where it is in the body, what age they left the physical life that they passed, for that person to tell me the names of the person who could be sitting there, wife and daughter. Is that cold reading? It doesn't come anywhere near cold reading. It's direct communication from a stranger who doesn't know the person and given that information that is being passed to him or her to give to the person. Person out in the audience, okay, who may say, okay, you're talking about something, and then the person may quote you on something. And often the word that's been asked has been changed in the answer from the mum or the dad to something else, and it stumped that person. It's gone, my God, I didn't ask that, but coming here saying to my wife, I bet he couldn't tell me about it. And he goes and tells me about it. Where's that come from?
Would you accept that there are some people who are charlatans and do play on the fears of people?
Okay, yes. I'll go along with a certain amount of this. Yes, there is. But isn't there in every walk of life, Andy? Isn't there charlatans?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's charlatans in every walk of life. We're talking about responsible people. Look what happens in doctorate. Okay?
Yeah.
Those terrible things. Look what's happened in teaching, police force, just recently in Ireland, with religion, clergy and children. These are charlatans, but they don't ever get talked about, do they? They don't get accused as mediums get accused. Mediums, each time when they get the people who are doing the accusation want to crucify the person. When generally we are doing the work that we believe is correct, that helps people, not hinders them.
Is there some sort of ethical code?
Yes, there is an ethical code that we all adhere to, or most of us do. And I certainly would. I've never told anyone anything bad. Never would. I wouldn't do the work, there is a code. Guidance is a different thing. If something's happening around the person's life, that the person knows it's happening as well, that's hurting them or is hurting others, and they can do something about it, and you get that guidance from the spirit loved one, I will give that guidance. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, that's trying to help the person, not hinder them.
Yeah.
That's as far as I go in my demonstrations. That's as far as I will go. It's like, as an example, say if a person sitting out there has had a drug problem. You're not going to say out loud, hey, you've had a drug problem. But if the person's sitting there and you go to the person and you see something and you get told by a mother or a father, yes, you've been, but don't broadcast it. I will find the right words to say to that person, okay, without the whole and sundry knowing the depth of it.
Yeah.
And then we'll give the advice. So it's been covered up for him or her, but they know. Because they'll come to you after the show and say, thank you very much for doing it the way you did.
Have you ever been in the position where you've been on stage, you've been on telly or on radio, and just nothing is coming through at all?
Of course. There have been times, not many, but there have been times, and that's the honesty of it. But over the years, it's not a lot of times in percentage, but when it's happened, I've been fortunate, like other mediums were fortunate, that we use the backup. And that backup is what we call working just purely and simply on the psychic level. And what that means is you're not communicating because there's no one step forward, but through the voice vibration of the person you're talking to, images come, and you have to learn to discern what that image relates to and what it is in that person's life. And once you've done that, you can tell the person about personal things, what's happened around them just recently, what happened to them 2-3 years ago, they've gone through a divorce, you may name the ex-partner, and things like that. So you get through it that way. But before that psychic connection is finished, generally, then the spirit connection comes in as well. So you can combine the two.
So have you ever come across somebody who's been a real sceptic,
Yeah.
and by the end of speaking to you has fully believes what you're telling them?
Many, many times. My wife is here in total, I'm sure backup. Many times over the years, at many, many theatres, many places, I've had a lot of sceptics who've come to me and said to me, shook my hand, hugged me, and told me, they didn't believe one iota. They come along, they're going to have a laugh. They're coming along because the wife has badgered them. They'd sooner be down the pub having a drink and playing darts or snooker or watching footy on telly or whatever. Mixed bag of different reasons. And those same people are honest people. And if you have moved them, it's 100 times stronger than if you go to a person who believes in the way, who gets a message. Because it's so, it hits them so hard. And often I've found that them same people will say to me, my group of friends are all like me. when I go and tell them, I'll make them sit up and really think. And I'm sure you get a lot of them coming along to see you sometime after what I've got to tell them.
You see, I'm in the position where I've got an open mind. You know, I want to be able to believe in an afterlife, in the presence of spirits and beings, but I've never seen or experienced anything that would prove to me that that's real.
Well, a lot of people have said exactly those same words in that same way, but it's not every person, unfortunately, that is either going to see or is meant to see if that person is not a developed medium, because that facility may be not available to you in this lifetime, because you are not in this lifetime made to walk a pathway of development and mediumship. And that's why a person maybe like yourself or others who may feel that way and say them same words, invariably it's not going to happen. However, because you haven't experienced it, I would say to people like your good self, well look, to give you a fighting chance, come along to one of these evenings. It doesn't have to be with Derek Acorah. It can be with any other person in mediumship that is known, that has been trusted and what have you. And who knows, on that night you will get something that will change your whole way of thinking. I always say, I will never be challenged by a person, whether it be a believer, a non-believer, sceptical mind, a cynical mind, or even a person sitting on the fence. I'm too old and long in the tooth. I've been through all that over the years, and that's my simple answer to it. If you want to see whether you can gain something, come to one of these evenings.